Welcome to the Deep Dive by 5W Media. Today, we're tackling something really fundamental to leadership. Wherever you find yourself leading, could be at work, could be at home with family, any team setting, really. We're looking at the difference between discipline and punishment, a crucial distinction. And we'll explore, what these words actually mean and how they impact the people we lead. We've got some great insights to unpack.
It's really interesting, isn't it, how often those terms, discipline and punishment, get used almost interchangeably.
Yeah, totally.
But when you dig into effective leadership, the sources we looked at show they're, fundamentally different. Different goals, different results.
Okay, so let's nail down that core difference right from the start. Punishment, it seems, is really about the person giving it. It feels like it's about retribution, maybe. Stopping a behavior by making things unpleasant, maybe even causing discomfort or harm.
That's exactly right. Ford Taylor puts it clearly, punishment is focused on the punisher, making the other person pay.
Right, whereas discipline, it's flipped, isn't it? It's all about the person on the receiving end.
Completely. The focus shifts.
The aim isn't pain, it's teaching, encouraging a positive change.
Precisely. It's about training, guiding. Tina Payne Bryson's quote is perfect here. She says, "Too often we forget that discipline really means to teach, not to punish."
Ah, okay.
A disciple is a student, not a recipient of behavioral consequences. That reframes the whole thing, Discipline is education.
Yeah, that student idea is powerful. John Fogel also talks about this, how consequences and punishment get mixed up. He argues punishment often just doesn't teach the lesson effectively. Yeah. He even mentioned kids sometimes don't even remember why they were punished later on.
And that's a huge problem with punishment, isn't it? If the person doesn't connect the negative feeling with the actual behavior.
Then what's the point?
Exactly. What's being learned. It just becomes about avoiding the person doling out the punishment, not about understanding why the behavior itself was wrong or how to change it.
Okay, so that leads us into why punishment tends to fail, especially in a leadership context. Fogel asks this great question.
Yeah.
How would you feel? Imagine a leader at work who just used punishment for every little mistake.
Oh, that sounds awful. Instantly demotivating.
Right. It would just create this heavy negative atmosphere, not productive at all.
And there's actual neuroscience behind that feeling. When we feel punished, the brain kind of kicks into fight or flight.
The limbic system, right.
Exactly. That emotional fear center takes over.
Yeah.
And here's the kicker. It actually dampens activity in the prefrontal cortex.
Which is where all the learning and thinking happens.
Precisely. So the very act of punishing someone to teach them something actually shuts down the part of the brain they need to learn it. It's counterproductive.
Wow. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And a Forbes article we looked at really laid out the damage from fear-based leadership.
It's pretty stark, isn't it?
Totally. Leaders relying on fear, coercion, punishment. They create toxic workplaces. Morale tanks. Creativity just dies.
Innovation goes out the window.
Exactly. Trust disappears. Stress goes up. Burnout follows. And ultimately, productivity suffers too. It's a downward spiral.
Yeah, those tactics, like the article says, they just make people anxious and focused on protecting themselves, not contributing their best.
Ronald Riggio also had some great points on this. He flat out says punishment is a terrible motivator.
Short-term fix, maybe?
Maybe. It might stop the bad thing for a second, but it doesn't inspire anyone to do the right thing. People just focus on not getting caught, not on positive action.
And like Fogel pointed out, if you, the leader, are the only reason they're behaving because they fear you, what happens when you turn your back?
Right. There's no internal motivation built.
None.
Riggio also mentions that punishment breeds negativity, resentment, maybe even wanting to get back at the leader somehow. That's the last thing you want simmering in a team.
Definitely not. And he makes another good point. It's inefficient. A leader constantly playing police officer
wastes so much time and energy.
Right. Time that could be spent actually leading, mentoring, strategizing.
And maybe the biggest hit, Riggio says, is losing respect. That referent power, the admiration people have for you. If you lead by fear, you lose that.
And your best people might just leave. They don't want to work in that kind of environment.
Okay, so we've clearly established punishment is, often not the way to go. Let's talk about the alternative. Discipline and consequences.
Yes, the constructive side. Fogel suggests focusing on helping people understand the natural and logical consequences of what they did, instead of just hitting them with retribution.
I liked his example about the messy playroom. Instead of just yelling or taking away TV,
You frame it differently.
yeah, you talk about, well, if the room's clean, you can find your toys, or they won't get stepped on and broken. It connects the action to a real outcome.
It makes inherent sense. It's not arbitrary. And his story about the Sharpie racetrack on the deck,
Oh, yeah, the red Sharpie.
instead of just grounding the kid, he had him help sand the deck to fix the problem he created.
So the child directly experienced the consequence, not just random punishment, but understanding the impact.
Exactly. Learning through doing, essentially.
And this isn't just about being nice. An article from Employee Matters pointed out that clear disciplinary policies, when they're fair and consistent, can actually create a positive environment. People feel secure when they know the rules and know the consequences are applied fairly.
That fairness and consistency piece is absolutely critical. It removes the arbitrariness, the feeling that it depends on the leader's mood.
Ford Taylor's story about the employee who stole, that was really powerful.
It really was.
He upheld the company policy. The employee had to be let go, but he chose not to prosecute. He focused on the person learning from it.
Showing discipline, upholding the standard, but also mercy. It allowed for accountability and a chance for that person to turn things around.
And the fact that it worked out well for the guy and his family long term really shows the power of that approach.
It does. It shows discipline isn't just about the harshest outcome. It's about the right outcome, considering the behavior, the standard, and the person.
Rebecca Mattar's points on safety programs fit right in here, too. Good leaders use discipline to encourage safety through positive means, clear rules.
Not just threats.
Right. Education, consistent application. Viewing a safety violation as a chance to teach, not just blame.
That shift, seeing mistakes as learning opportunities, that's key. It moves away from blame towards prevention and improvement.
Okay, now there's another angle to this. Something maybe more subtle, but still problematic, performance punishment.
Oh, yes. The reward for being good is more work.
Exactly. The Lawline blog talks about this, just piling work onto your high performers because, well, they can handle it.
It seems efficient on the surface, maybe.
But it backfires, right? The blog points out it leads to burnout for that star player.
And resentment from others, potentially. They see the workload imbalance.
Yeah, and the high performer starts feeling undervalued, overworked, motivation drops. It hurts everyone's morale. It clashes with that fairness idea we talked about.
Absolutely. It basically penalizes success. Why push yourself if the reward is just getting buried?
So, what do leaders do? The blog suggests practical things. Really look at people's skills and bandwidth before assigning tasks.
Be mindful of capacity.
Streamline processes so everyone's job is easier. Delegate properly across the team.
Don't just default to the same person.
And prioritize. Make it clear what really needs doing so people aren't swamped with everything at once.
It's about thoughtful management, really. Being proactive to keep the workload fair and sustainable.
And one last crucial piece, from Fogel again, reconciliation and modeling.
To follow through.
He points out that mistakes, whether they're made by the leader or someone else, are actually chances to grow. If you handle it right, apologize well, take accountability.
It can actually make the relationship stronger. He compared it to relationships in general. Getting through rough patches strengthens the bond.
Yeah, that makes sense. It builds resilience in the team dynamic.
And it all comes back to the leader modeling that behavior. If you want people to own their mistakes, you have to own yours.
Absolutely. Show vulnerability, apologize sincerely. It ties back to discipline being about teaching and guiding by example.
So, wrapping it all up, what we're seeing consistently across these sources is that truly effective leadership leans heavily into discipline, the teaching, guiding, consequence-focused approach.
Yeah, rather than punishment, the fear-based controlling approach.
Discipline builds trust, it encourages people to grow, and at the end of the day, it just leads to better results for everyone.
So the big shift really is in mindset, moving from reacting with punishment to proactively guiding with discipline, from fear to growth. If you like what you were hearing from us, please subscribe. Also, if you'd like and share this video, it helps us tremendously and means so much to us. Please also leave a comment. We want to know what you think and value ideas you might have for future podcasts. Thanks for tuning in.